My name is Alexander Sheedy, and this is my crazy relationship. So about 2 years ago, I went to Texas and I met this awesome girl. We really hit it off. I loved how strong and independent she was. She liked me for whatever reason. And it was great. I ended up staying in Texas for her, which wasn't my original plan, and things were going great at first. I thought I'd found the one. I started getting some suspicions. It got to a point where things weren't making sense and I needed to figure out what was going on. She was doing this sales rep job with my friend. That's actually where they met. So she would go for the day to go to the job and then call me to come pick her up like an hour later or whatever, like, oh, I don't need to actually be in, or I don't need to actually do this or something. It got called off, which is just suspicious. And then eventually she just wasn't going to work at all. I had no idea where she was going or what she was actually doing, if she had a job or any of it. So I was actually staying with her the whole time. I just originally went and it was supposed to be like a week hanging out with my friend, and then I met her, and then my friend left and I was gonna continue on my journey, like go to New Mexico, California, continue on. But she wanted me to stay and I didn't want to leave, and she wanted me to like set up things in Texas, and I wasn't opposed to it. I was really happy that I found a friend that I could just hang out with. And then after about a month of staying there and hanging out, then we started to date, and I stayed for another month dating. The second thing that was fishy was visiting relatives that didn't exist or had never been talked about before. It didn't make sense. So I hear from the friend that I went to visit from that things were wrong and that she needed to talk to me. My ex's parents got in contact with my friend and they started talking about what was actually happening. And then my friend telephoned it down to me and explained that everything about her was actually a lie. She was lying to me, my friend, her job at the time, about everything. Her entire life and persona was not true. I thought that she was in college and went to high school in the state that she grew up in, and was valedictorian and was a CEO of some job, like this multi-million-dollar company or some crazy stuff. I had no idea. Or that she had a pilot's license. I just believed everything very naively. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I had no idea, but it was all a lie about everything. I found out that the being adopted and moving to the US was true, but she was not in college or not working. Her parents were covering the rent where she was at. She said she had a pilot's license, like that she studied and went to school for it, flew jets in her mansion with her family's plane, crazy stuff like that, and it all turned out to be a lie. She was very compulsive. It made me rethink a lot of things, because I was just believing her, believing everything she said, not questioning it at all, and none of it was true. Even the true stuff, I don't know. Like, was everything a lie? Was there some things that were truthful? I don't know. After I found out that she was lying about everything, really, I confronted her, because obviously I wasn't going to just assume, even if it was coming from my best friend and her parents. And it was true. It was all a lie, and she was not being honest. So after that, I mean, I could get over, you don't need to have everything or be everything or have a license or a millionaire or have a house or whatever. My issue is that she lied to me and had me live like a fake life for over a month of my life. So I was like, I need time. I think I want space, and I'm gonna go stay with my friends in New Mexico now. And she did not take too kindly to that. She was not happy about it, obviously. And she wanted me to stay and try to figure things out, and I could learn to be okay with it and stuff like that. I was not. So one of the days, I packed my stuff And I waited till she got home so I could say goodbye. I wasn't going to try to just dip out without saying anything. And I told her that I'm leaving, and maybe soon or at some point we can figure stuff out, but I just need time to process everything that happened. And she ended up taking my keys and phone and wallet and putting it in a safe that I didn't know about in her closet, and then unpacked my car for me without me knowing, which was interesting, and said that just a couple more days and it'll be okay, or she'll give it back to me later. It's some crazy manipulative stuff. And I was like, this is not cool. I don't like this. It was in person, and I just said, like, I've heard a lot of stuff that, like, I want to check in with you. Like, is this true? Did you actually have this? Did you actually do this? Are you in college? Is this true? Are you lying to me? And she had a lot of fake rebuttals, or like not much, like, don't believe what you say here, or let's talk about something else, or it's not a big deal, don't worry about it. It was less of a confrontation and more of just a questioning, like, hey, is this true? And she didn't accept it or say yes, but she was very avoidant to the questions, didn't answer, and it was very clear that it was true, that none of it was real. She dismissed it, didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to hear or listen to it. It was emotional. It was a very sad thing. I'm think for both of us, but especially me, I was like, man, this sucks and it's not cool. She was very dismissive and mellow until I said, like, I'm leaving, where she was upset, distraught, was not so mellow. She was very desperate for me to stay in the hopes that we can fix it or figure it out or all that. It was never aggressive or anything like that, but it was like very sad and like a lot of desperation, I guess, like fear of me leaving or that we won't be able to fix it or something like that. And I was very upset the whole time, and also in shock, if I'm being honest, just like trying to process it and like, okay, this is crazy and I need some time by myself to figure this out. She locked all my stuff away. I felt very confused and kind of trapped. My main thoughts were just, okay, I need to figure out how to coerce her to give me my stuff back. I need to figure out a way to escape. Now it's become less of a bad breakup and more of a trapped situation. I actually heard that there was some like violence issues within her and her family when I got to talk to them, and that there was like a murder or something that happened back in China. I don't know all of it, but this one I did hear from the family, so I believe it a little bit more. So I just wasn't sure. They were very concerned about me in the sense of like, hey, you need to get out. We don't know what she's doing or capable of. And I'm like naively like, oh, I don't know. I didn't think anything of it before, but now that things have escalated and kind of spiraled, I'm like, of course, yeah. I was actually scared at that point, really scared. I was thinking about everything. My mind was running. Could she kill me? I mean, she lied about everything. I have no idea who this person actually is. Like, she could hurt me or worse. I figured I don't know who this person is or what she's capable of, and I don't want to anger her anymore or get her violent. So I got her to agree that if I stay one more night, I could get my stuff back. The next morning I wake up and I ask about getting my stuff back out of the safe, and she dismisses it and says, you know, one more day, spend one more night, please don't leave. Very sad and guilt trippy, like, you can't leave me, this is bad, and like, you don't actually want to go, you want to stay here, you're just forcing yourself to go because you think that you want to, but you don't, trying to manipulate me into staying even longer, which was kind of disheartening. So I was like, man, am I never gonna get my stuff back? Am I ever gonna be able to get out of here? I stayed a second night, which was the same as before. And then after that second night, in the morning, I was like, I need my stuff back. I was serious at that point. I I was stern. I'd given her the time. I'd coddled her. I'd tried to appease her, but I was like, I need to get my stuff back out. I'm gonna take the safe with me, with my stuff in if I don't get it back. And she did. She gave me my stuff back. But when I looked at my phone and stuff, I'd found that there was a bunch of parental locks and surveillance units and apps that would track my bank account, where she could lock me out, and apps where we could shut my phone off from a distance so I can't use it anymore. And that was my next issue, because I needed that stuff off. So it was an afternoon of convincing her to get all of those apps and restrictions off, which was painstakingly long. And I had to convince her, like, oh, I'm not gonna leave, but I just need this stuff off. Like, I had to play the part with her at that point just to be able to get out and leave. And then she did end up giving me my keys, which was helpful. And then the next time that she left the house, I packed whatever I could, all of my stuff, and I got out of there like I should have done in the first place. It was bittersweet, mainly relieving. I felt like I could breathe, like, whew, I finally have time to process what actually happened and what is going on and recover and think. Honestly, I was just happy that nothing got violent or crazy, or the cops were called, or I still have all my limbs and everything. I did hear from her again. She ended up calling all the time, every day, constantly, and texting all of the different things. I ended up having to block her on all forms of social media and phone, and she still found a way to like hack into my email and do a thing where you can, even if the caller's blocked, they can still get a hold of you just on a private number. So it was a couple weeks of that, actually trying to live my life without using my phone at all, basically. I mean, I had to stop using my phone completely because it was all just calls and texts and hacking and trying to get in contact with me. So about 2 weeks into being gone, she sent me a text of a positive pregnancy test. I talked to her and see what's actually happening, and I talked to her parents. I was talking to her mom, and she told me that she was in a facility actually right now. They had done a intervention, so they did blood work and tests. She was not pregnant and not to keep in contact anymore. She's just doing that to try to reach out. You need to put a no contact and don't fall for whatever reason she needs you to come back. I think the moral of the story is I learned to not be so gullible. I pay attention to the red flags. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. If something seems suspicious, you should maybe look into it. Don't write everything off or ignore it. You never know who a person really is. I really learned that I just need some time to myself to figure out my own issues before I jump in with anyone else's stuff. So no, I have not been with anyone since then. I'm just learning to love myself and gain enough knowledge so I can be prepared for the next time.